Happy to help.
Give me
Well, I cannot sit.
anything.
So,
Alright.
I joined for the Warhammer for the keyboard.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there any particular? So, I can give you three things. If you'd like to know, like, basically, okay, what each faction is about at the moment, what the entire universe is from start to finish, or just if any particular faction catches your interest. So, you have three.
the funny Skaven people.
The rats, yes. So, I'll be honest, that's a dark area for me. I don't know all too much about the rats. They're not. As I can tell you about the universe in general. I can tell you about Chaos, Warp, Admech, but
What's your favorite faction?
what faction?
Your favorite.
What's your favorite faction?
Personal favorite, Adeptus Mechanicus.
What's that?
Okay. So, you know prosthetics, right?
Yes.
Take that, or actually, Cyberpunk 2077, like the whole Cyberpunk body modification.
Ah, yes.
That, but so think about it like this. They're based from Mars, and as a general overview, like this is tagline shit. Not getting too deep into it. They're from Mars. They worship machines and the Omnissiah, which is a machine spirit. Like, and for a machine spirit, your computer has machine spirit. Your toaster has machine spirit. Anything that works is a machine that's a machine spirit. So the Adeptus Mechanicus worship them, and it's kind of up in the air whether or not whether the worship works or not. Because on one hand, it may not work. On the other hand, their stuff never jams, never fails. So who knows?
Are they the ones that can go insane after a certain amount of time in the machines?
No, that's mainly the pilots of Titans and other machines. The Adeptus Mechanicus, I do apologize for my voice. I've been doing this for about 2.5 hours.
Ah, that's impressive.
So I know a lot about it. It is not one thing I listen to. Just gotta take a quick drink of water and I'll be good to go.
Yes, do what you need.
Much better. Okay, so Adeptus Mechanicus, allied with the Imperium, hate everything else. Their main goal is knowledge. They believe that all knowledge is out there in the universe. You just have to go and find it. And also a bunch of hypocrites, in which you cannot invent anything. Because a good way of summarizing it is like, let's just say you sent a fighter pilot jet back to the Roman era. Back in time to the Roman era. Do you want a bunch of fucking guys just pressing buttons on it, trying to see what happens? Or would you rather try to study it and see how it works, and then try to use it? Because that's the Adeptus Mechanicus, is that all technology and all knowledge is sacred, and it's already out there. You just got to go and find it. However, if you do invent, okay, but also because they're a bunch of hypocrites, you also, like, let's say, oh, I invented this thing. Shoot, I can't say I did. Let me put it in bumfuck nowhere in the outer region of the galaxy. Go over there. Hey, I found it. What a coincidence. Boom. And that's technology. But I would say they basically, as a faction as a whole, they worship machines. And so they're the guys that will cut off their own arm and replace it with a mechanical one. Like, oh wow, my brain doesn't have enough storage space. Let me just, attach it to this computer, and that will physically add storage. Oh, I'm not getting around. It's like, oh, I don't have enough hands to do research fast enough. Let me graft two like Dr. Octavius tentacles to my back, and then that way I can use those as hands as well. It's basically body modification. It's a lot of body modification for a lot of purpose, with a lot of religious zealotry in it as well. And they also just look sick as hell. It's basically a bunch of mech boys.
That's very nice.
One clear distinction is that no matter what, AI, artificial intelligence, heresy, omega heresy. Absolutely no AI. So instead, how do you get around that? You just lobotomize and turn a person into a machine. That's what we call servitors.
Okay.
So once again, this, as the tagline goes, there is no peace in the on the far future of the 41st millennium. There is only war. Everyone's a bad guy. There are no good guys. So,
Are you serious right now?
For the most part, that's the Adeptus Mechanicus, and that's like the
You're
general
actually doing Warhammer lore.
Yes. Now do not interrupt.
Dude, no one gives a shit about. Can you start the game, Cat?
You
Excuse
joined.
me?
This server name
What
was
type-
titled.
Yeah,
Clearly the server
Bro,
name, bro. What are you
why are you-
session.
Why are you playing this game when you should just go play Warhammer if you want to fucking talk about lore?
Because it's
Bro,
a nice way to meet
I'm not
people and let
talking,
them know
bro.
about the
Stop.
hobby.
You're
Dude,
your
but
voice
nobody
sounds like
likes
a squeaky
Warhammer.
toy, bro.
You literally are a squeaky toy, bro. I bet your butthole's so wide you
Come
can
on.
fit a raccoon in there.
Let's all be civil
Hey, bud.
about this.
But let's calm
I
down.
like this man. This man, my favorite right here. You're annoying. You're
Hey,
the
now
most
do
annoying
not
motherfucker.
do not be like
How am I
that.
a bit annoying?
You have a millimeter defeater. You keep out of this. I like you.
That is, you are not. But
You're glowing weird.
Are you able to kick him?
Yeah,
that-
I decided, I prefer not to kick people as a general principle, but yeah.
Oh,
Does
I'm
anything
being
that-
tough.
Okay, but if you guys would like, I can give you an overview on all the major players as per se when it comes to the universe.
Please.
Okay, so
Oh.
if anyone ever says like what faction is your favorite, then this will probably be the section for it. So, and also want to say I'm not reading this off the document or anything. This is literally all off the top of my head, so I will be going back and forth between some stuff. But for the most part, let's start off with the Humies, the Imperium of Man. So, when it comes to armies, there's a lot of them. And I also want to preface this by saying, Warhammer as a franchise has about 543 books, so it's quite a lot of stuff to get through. But like I said, let's just start with the Humans. You have for standard factions, you have your Imperial Guard. These are your regular military, and how they win battles is by sheer unadulterated numbers. Like, what do you mean dog is still going? Man, hi Milordy. Great to see you back here again. So, I'm gonna say the Imperial Guard is more or less is your standard army, standard guys. A lot of cool stuff to go with them. But I think that's the best way to think about it. It's like your average human with a las gun, which is basically a laser gun, which does practically nothing in the War of 40k, but it's death by 23 million cuts.
Oh god.
Yeah, so it's like, this las rifle that a single shot can, blast a hole through concrete. Great. In a world full of overpowered shit, it doesn't really mean much. But it's different from having a laser pointer and having 50,000 of them shooting at you all at once.
Oh my.
So that's really how they win battles. It's just through sheer numbers and good tactics. Imperial Guard are going to be the most tactical of all the factions because you have regular squishy humans against the terrors of the universe. Within that, you have the Sisters of Battle, which are what people refer to as, religious nuns with flamethrowers.
I like the sound of
It's an
that.
it's an all-female.
I do like the sound of that.
It's an all-female unit of basically very religious and very zealotly and religious nun unit, in which they do have a lot of factions to them, like you have different orders of which one can flavor. With this hobby being 30 years old, it does have a lot of customization to it. But I'd say if you really like nuns with guns and flamethrowers shouting for the Emperor and having literally their power of faith performing actual miracles on the battlefield, then yeah, I mean that would be a good faction. Then you have the Space Marines, the poster boys of the franchise. So the Space Marines, as a bit of a lore, are a genetically altered human with the DNA of a Primarch. I'll get to them later. But it is basically, think of the God Emperor and how powerful he is to earn the title, and then his sons are the Primarchs, so the demigods. And each Space Marine has something called a gene seed. It's basically the DNA template from their Primarch. They're not clones, but it's like they have some. They have some of the DNA with them that cause them to have different abilities, varieties whatsoever. And so, you find that. Hey, bud, you good?
Could you please not, sir?
Anyway,
Hold on, my escape's not working.
mainly when it comes to the Primarchs. But yeah, so when it comes to Space Marines, you have a lot of different chapters, lots of different customization. Literally, it would be too long for me to get into it. But there literally is one size fits all. Like, if you like, it's on the battlefield, if you're all about speed, going fast, you got the White Scars. If you're all about, that's a bit more about the vampires.
Man, this is boring.
There's one that's a bit more vampire themed called the Blood Angels. I'm trying to think of like the coolest ones. You have the Ultramarines, which are like Space Marines, but a little bit better. Personally, a bit too boring in my taste, but it's just for me. Like I said, you have really not hundreds, but there's quite a lot of factions with their own lore and such. Each related to one of the 20 Primarchs. Actually, with the 18. I'll get into it.
Yeah.
but okay, so that's that. And then you have the Custodians. And I think that might be it for like the actual flesh and blood of it. So the Custodians are basically handcrafted by the God Emperor himself. Like each one tailor-made to their own armor, very, very resource intensive. Whenever playing the tabletop, very, very cost extensive, but they are quite literally the pinnacle of humanity. Second only to them. They're all like they're warriors, philosophizers, literally pretty much perfect. And they guard the God Emperor of mankind. And they train. If the reaction time slows by one fraction of a second, they're retired. Done. Because there can't be any mistakes allowed. So they're really cool. They're also clad in golden armor and everything like that. Are you guys familiar with the God Emperor of Mankind? At all? It's an important figure, but I just want to ask that beforehand.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Are you guys familiar with the God Emperor of Mankind?
I'm not.
I am not.
Okay. Well, in that case, here's a bit of a story. So, the God, damn, I have to go a bit back, because, like, having to explain step C and have to go through A through B. So, first off, I gotta tell a bit more about the universe. So you have the material plane, which is, everything the universe as it is. And then you have the immaterial, the warp, as everyone calls it. That is a sea of souls. Like, your soul is separate from your body, but they're linked. And once you die, your soul goes to the warp. And so, some people describe it as hell because there's demons there, or warp creatures, but overall it's the immaterial. And so, like, long ago, like, once humanity first started, once, like, humanity was born, you have these people called psychers, which you can be born a psycher. It's basically a wizard. For lack of better terms, they can channel the warp and the immaterium to have actual physical powers. Like, you can have lightning shot at your fingertips, move stuff with your mind, read people's thoughts, see the future. Basically, space wizards. So, right before this was extremely rare to ever be born as one. Even one that was powerful enough to know of your own abilities. But way back in the early days of humanity, 12 psychers got all together and decided to, and saw in the forthcoming future that humanity would need a leader to lead them and make sure that they survive, otherwise they go extinct. So they ritualistically committed suicide and merged their souls to become the God Emperor of Mankind, like his soul.
Very
And
interesting.
the God Emperor is functionally immortal, well, more or less immortal. Like age doesn't determine whatsoever. As well as he's the most powerful psyker to ever exist in the universe. Like well, that's a good comparison. Okay, so let's say your average person's soul, like in the sea of souls, it's complete pitch blackness. Your average person's soul is a candle, not a whole lot of light, but something there. A psyker's soul is like a flashlight, a lot more light there. At least depending on how powerful the psyker is, just a lot more light as a psyker. Currently, the God Emperor of Mankind, his soul is so powerful, it literally acts as the North Star for people traveling through the warp.
Oh my.
It is bright enough to see throughout the entire galaxy. So, what I mean, this guy, he gets the title of the God Emperor of Mankind. He's also, 20 foot tall and buff as shit. But, that comes with the title. So, for him, once he became aware of his own abilities, he then realized that humanity is indeed going to need a leader. That he'll have to lead humanity. So humanity progresses normally in time. Like with him more or less pulling the strings. He's every secret society, every Illuminati. He's the head of all of it. Like if he needs to be if he needs to act as a politician, he can disguise himself and use it. And what I mean by psychic powers, like I'm talking, he can buff your own. Like he can buff his own physical strength. This is just a small list because it's really he can warp reality to whatever he wants to do. To an extent, same way space wizards and magic, of that he can disguise himself, he can change form, he can literally cause a sword to light on fire forever. It's cool shit. But he also became master at messing with DNA and genes, trying to perfect the human genome. And so I'm going to skip over a lot of history right now, like a lot of in-depth stuff. Basically, humanity progresses to a golden age of technology. Literally anything's possible, even to rewriting atoms and making absolutely insane technologies. Then AI, the AI we've been using the entire time, turns against us. People get cut off from each other and have to survive on their own Earth, disbands, and God Emperor reveals himself to unify the Earth under his banner, start on a crusade. So, the Emperor then created, to help him with the war effort of a crusade to reclaim all of humanity among the stars. He then creates his sons, more or less, Primarchs, demigods. The Primarchs are, and you can actually play a couple Primarchs on the tabletop. It's cool stuff, but for the most part, they are a bit like demigods, of which they contain part of his genetics and his power, and he had 20 of them in total. However, there's no good way to put it about this. His baby mama, like basically chaos. Damn, now I gotta explain chaos. And I would have gotten to it anyways. So we're gonna put a pin in the Primarch situation. Explain a bit. So the warp is a sea. However, the same way that we have, the same way that we do have the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the Indian Ocean. Like even though it's all one big body of water, we separate into that. Is the same way that we have different realms in the warp. And we have the realm of chaos, caused by the 4 chaos gods. For just right now, I'll call them Nurgle, Tzeentch, Khorne, and Slaanesh. I'll explain them all. I'll explain them all in time. But for the main part, just know chaos likes dicking around with everything in the material, especially humanity. Generally, pretty evil. I'll explain to them in a bit. But basically, chaos influences her to send all her kids into the warp, which gets them spit out at different places, at different planets. this is where the problem starts. Of that, based on where each planet is and the culture there, they end up with different personalities and whatnot. Once again, not a lot of stuff I'm going to get into right now because I'm trying to do an overview of it. But just for the main part, 20 demigods, each of them have their own, thing, gimmick, and power. And so with that, the Space and just to kind of tie it all back, those are the Primarchs. The Space Marine has some of their DNA in them. There's lots to choose from. Custodians talked about the God Emperor and how he's basically master of all mankind. Very, very smart dude. Also, the thing about him, he hates the fact that people worship him. He is a staunch atheist. Like, will actively burn churches because he hates religion. So, the fact that people worship him now in the 41st millennium is just making him mad as shit. Yeah, and so that's also where you get the nuns with guns. They worship the God Emperor, even though he would hate being worshipped. Yeah, you got and I'll say if you do want to look more into the Imperium, that's completely fine. You got the Inquisition, different space marines, rogue traders. But for the most part, those are your human factions. For the more mechanical ones, we're talking to you about today, Adeptus Mechanicus, and who they are as a faction. Let's see. Let's get on to Chaos and explain a bit about them. So, Chaos, you have the 4 Chaos Gods, and technically 5th faction within. So, you have. I'm trying to remember all this. Nurgle. I'll start with Khorne. He's the easiest and simplest to understand. Khorne, he's the god of the war. He is the god. So he's the god of martial combat, of martial prowess, and of honorable combat. As his saying goes, blood for the blood god, skull for the skull throne, because he quite literally is surrounded by oceans of blood and sits on a throne of skulls.
Oh my.
So, trust me, this guy, like, pros and cons. Pros, if you go with him, it's basically like that one guy at the gym who takes 15 scoops of creatine before every workout, and then makes a new PR for the entire gym. Like, you will get buff as shit, hard to kill, and overall just love combat. Melee combat is great. Ranged combat is for pussies, and just overall, that's Khorne. That's Khorne for you. Like I said, pros, he's not going to stab you in the back, he's going to stab you in the front. Cons, there's a lot of infighting. Like, if you don't fight something for a while, you're going to kill someone next to you, or if they don't fight anyone for a while, they're going to try to kill you. So, a lot of infighting, but you're there for that. Next up, second god, Tzeentch. Tzeentch is the god of change, the god of planning, scheming, trickery, and also the god of hope, because the gods also represent like good and bad. So Tzeentch is the god of change, and he will dick you over. He will have plans within plans. He'll make you slip on a donut, which then makes you crack your back, which will put you in fucking financial ruin, and that will amuse the shit out of him. He has plans within plans. He's fucking Batman. I'm sorry to say this. He's basically Batman if he was a god of just the amount of planning, knowledge, and trickery he has up his sleeves. So he's, he's mainly associated with, sorcery and wizards. And so that's pretty much him. He is technically the most powerful, but like, why ruin a game that keeps on going? So that's like a synopsis on him. Third one, Nurgle. Bit hard to explain. He's the god of disease. Yeah. Basically, he's the god of disease, god of rot, of decay. He's also god of acceptance, of the release of pain. Like for example, you'll have disease, you'll have super Ebola, but you won't feel any of it. All your pain will be gone. You can accept your fate in stagnation. So let's say, if you were dying of a disease, which every day brought you immense amount of pain, you can never get it to stop.
Warhammer 40k lore.
He'd be the type of guy to, in the pain. However, going with him, you will be mutated as long as the other Chaos Gods, but you will be mutated a lot more. And if you can't, once you join, there ain't no going back, because your insides will become your outsides most times than not. You'll grow like horns, boils, scars, open wounds. It's disease, rot, and decay. What are you going to expect? However, he's probably the best Chaos God to go for, because I mean, it's not like you're going to be leaving anytime soon with any of the Chaos Gods. And on top of that, you're not going to feel any of the bad stuff. So you literally will be out of pain. You'll be pretty happy, because Nurgle is one of the few Chaos Gods that actually likes his followers. So you'll be pretty happy. You'll be pretty happy. You won't feel any pain. However, you'll be horribly disfigured, and everyone will hate you. And the only problem is that if you get cut off from him, you will feel everything, and it will be the worst agony ever. So just
Can I know about the Warhammer lore?
Yep, that's what we're doing right now. I'm just covering the Chaos Gods. And finally, the worst one of them all, Slanesh. Slanesh, basically the god of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. She's the god of all the senses: pain, pleasure, how you feel, smell, touch, eat, everything. She's the god of excess. Like a good way to imagine her is that her influence is like, oh, you like coffee, but then after you start drinking coffee, and it's great, but after a while, it doesn't do anything for you. So you gotta go to espresso. In espresso, you do it for a while, but then it doesn't go. So you go triple shot, and then triple shot, you gotta go even further, and then eventually you'll go down the line to meth. Now that's just her influence. That's what she is generally. To join up with her, to actively pledge yourself with her, is like going from nothing to straight up crystal meth. Like, you are jumping the gun on a lot of things. She's the god of depravity, and extremely a whole lot of bad shit. And then she's all about, pushing the senses to their absolute extreme: depravity, pain, pleasure, all that sort of stuff. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I have a question. Do the Martians stick their dicks in toasters?
They do not, but they would worship them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So it's not without merit. But that's
I know I shouldn't put my dick in there. However, alright, I have to go. But thank you for the lore. I have to go to sleep. But thank you for the lore. It was actually pretty interesting.
You have a wonderful day. Have a good sleep.
See you, man.
Fairly well.
All right. You going to?
Oh, no, I was saying... I thought he was saying
So
bye.
I guess back to the overview of the main faction. So those are the 4 Chaos factions, and also the 5th one called Chaos Undivided. So Chaos Undivided basically, it's like shared property between all 4 Chaos Gods, where we get a little bit of everything, but also like no one god can claim you, because if so, it's like, hey, you're approaching my property, stay within the fucking line. All
I
the
have
4
a
Chaos
question.
Gods hate each other. Yep. So,
Why are the salamanders black?
because they literally, it's like literally ash skin. Their trial to be inducted into the Salamanders includes burning yourself alive and being dipped in lava. I'm not fucking joking.
That's
So-
Alright, thank you.
It's hardcore. Like, this entire franchise is hardcore, but for the most part, and those are your 5 Chaos factions. Let's see, those are the Chaos ones. Orchid boys. You have the Eldari, which I can boil down to space elves, who like I said, back to the light and the warp as like a thing for soul power. All Eldari are psychers, but they're like major stuff because it is your soul. For us humans, our highest highs and our lowest lows are literally the baseline for the Eldari. That's their baseline emotions. And they basically fell into hedonism after ruling the galaxy for a long while. And so with that, they basically... What the fuck is this guy on about? Okay.
I don't even know what to say.
Can I listen to him?
Okay.
No.
Can I listen to him?
So when it comes to the Eldari, so basically they fell into hedonism a long while ago, and basically got they once again slippery slope of depravity, and amplify that over 60 million years with people that are functionally immortal. So quite literally, they murder fucked an orgy like at the crescendo of everything of their entire empire doing it at the same time. Brought Slanesh into existence. Able to birth a chaos god. So it's crazy shit. But that's the Eldari. They're very cool. It's basically space elves. You also have Xenos factions, Necrons.
They're talking about him right now.
Egyptian robots that technically are cool as shit. Reanimate themselves, soulless, a bit like Terminators.
Hey, I have a question.
I'll put a pause on that. Yes, sir. What question can I get you for?
Is it pronounced Slanesh?
It's Slanesh.
Yes.
2 A's.
Okay, Slanesh. Esh.
Slanesh. Anything else?
Penis or what?
Does he have a penis or a pigeon? Or a pigeon?
They have both, and we'll fuck you with them simultaneously.
They will what?
Okay.
All right. That's pretty scary. Scary.
Listen, it's not no one is a nice god, and so you have the orcs, which I'm pretty sure a bit self-explanatory. They sound British. They love killing everything. They're a bunch of goofy guys, and quite literally, they have a power where they can manifest anything they want into reality by the power of belief. For example, like let's say, they were driving a car, and let's say they were driving a car, but oh no, it ran out of gas. One of the orcs asks, "Hey boss, did you fill up the car a while ago?" And the boss goes, "You stupid kids, of course I did. It's full right now." And then the car just starts back up.
No, they're talking about
Because they believe they filled it up earlier. The car is now full of gas and works. Yeah, the thing is that orcs are too stupid to actually utilize this power for anything good. So it's just for dumb shit. As well as they have to fight in order to survive. It's not part of the genetic code. Like, fighting is like eating to them. You have to do it every so often, otherwise they're gonna die. So eventually they used to be a lot better, but they kind of devolved through infighting down to what the orcs we know nowadays. And they're also a bunch of fungi. So that's the orcs. Very funny faction. Probably the ones having the best time. You also have, and I'm trying to remember, Tyranids.
Yeah, for it.
Tyranids. Basically, bugs that are probably the biggest threat in 40k, which is basically space bugs that will eat everything. Not everything. I mean, they'll eat you. They will drink the air. They will drink the water. They will leave nothing. Absolutely no biomass for anyone to use. They're a very interesting faction.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir, what can I do for you?
What was the question? The God Emperor of Mankind Omniscient?
Yeah.
Is the God Emperor of mankind Omniscient?
Yeah. Yes, actually. That is a good question. So the thing is that when the God Emperor came down to them, in order to make it all make sense in their religion, why this heavenly figure, so the Mechanicus worships the machine god, the god of all machine spirits and all knowledge. She God knows all and comprehends all. However, the God Emperor of mankind to them is the Omnissiah, a prophet of the machine god. Therefore, Messiah, Omnissiah. So they view the God of mankind, his word, like a Messiah. Kind of like how Christians, we have God with a capital G, and the Messiah with Jesus Christ. Both two very important holy figures. But yes, the God Emperor is the Omnissiah. So, let's see. They have Tyranid space bugs that will eat everything. And they're pretty damn scary because they're controlled by a hive mind. And the scariest part about the Tyranids is that they come from outside the galaxy. Should not be possible. And even worse, they come through the galaxy from two different sides. Like if galaxy's on like an XY plane, they came in from both z-axes. So they went around the entire galaxy. So that's very fucking scary. But yeah, that's about it for the major factions. Oh, and Tau, but fuck the Tau. I don't want to touch them. Basically, for Tau, think about space communist weeaboos with no noses, like Voldemort style.
Ooh.
Yeah, no one really likes it. No one likes a Tau because they specialize in ranged combat, which, for a game where everything is almost exclusively melee, is really fucking difficult to deal with. It's like, oh, hey, my charge! Stay still and kill all your units from halfway across the battlefield.
All right.
What a fun game.
Sorry to interrupt. I have a good question that's been in my head for a while. Can you get violently butt fucked by an orc?
No, you cannot. Because orcs don't have genitalia. Like, they are completely smooth down there. They don't even eat or shit. Their sustenance is violence. They don't need to eat. They don't need to drink. They just need to punch something in the face for them to feel satisfied. Okay, and that's pretty much the main playable factions. Any questions from any of ya?
No, because there's an echo.
Is there a creation story as to how, like, the whole galaxy was created?
Indeed there is, and it's a long one because it's called the War in Heaven.
Oh.
But it ties in with the Necrons and also how they shattered gods and killed everything. It's a long one. I'll get into it. But before I do into that, any shorter questions?
No. For me.
Justice, Figure, you got anything else?
No.
Okay. So the creation story. So back in the galaxy, there was this race called the Necrontyr, which best can be described as cancer-riddled space aliens. Like literally, their home planet, their home system, their sun was putting out insane amounts of radiation. It's like, actively. Their sun was an active nuclear reactor that was unshielded, causing them insane amounts of radiation to them. So, what ended up happening was they became spacefaring, and they found a race of godlike beings called the Old Ones. These Old Ones, so these Necrontyr went to the Old Ones and went to the Necrontyr went to the Old Ones and asked them, "Hey, could you please teach us how to be immortal?" Because the Old Ones, especially the powerful, they literally warp reality and create new life. Like, they're gods for every sense of the word. So, they asked the Old Ones for immortality. Old Ones say no. Necrons get pissed and decide to go to war with it. So what happens when you go to war with God? You get absolutely fucking bodied. And yeah, they did get bodied because the Old Ones decided to create. Yes. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, I know you keep telling us the lore. I'm thankful for that, but
Yes. What can I do for?
Which Space Marine chapter killed all the furries?
Are you talking about the Flesh Gets cartoon?
Yeah.
That would be the Black Templars.
Cool.
They're basically, if you took the religious zealotry of the Sisters of Battle and put a Space Marine in there to where hate, but let's not even begin to describe their hate of Xenos. Like, if they could, they would personally flay every single alien alive. They're a brutal bunch. But yeah, okay. Back to the War in Heaven. So, Necrontyr get bodied and decide to make a but they discover because the Old Ones they technically create the Orcs and the Eldari.
These are new people?
And the Orcs and the Atari under them completely decimate the Necrontyr. So the Necrontyr reach out to they discover a race called the Catan. Basically, immaterium, star-sucking vampires that, with the physical body, could warp reality to whatever they want. Like, legitimately, nothing hold back. Can't just mess with reality. And so with that, the Catan made a deal with the Necron, saying, "Yeah, we'll give you immortality. Just put your people in these soul furnaces, and we'll help you out." So Necrons here go through the soul furnaces, which turns them into just metal robots that are thinking, unfeeling, and have lost their soul. The Catan eat the souls of the Necrons, of the Necrons here, all of them. All the people get forced through this, and thus you get the Necrons, which are what they are today. Terminator-like robots, thinking, unthinking, unfeeling. And so, currently, then, with the help of the Catans, the Necrons completely genocided the old ones, cut them down to every last one. And then, because, the Catan deceived them into doing it, the whole soul furnace thing, they then shattered the Catan gods into thousands of pieces and stored them away. So they killed 2 sets of gods. And realized to deal with the Quarks and the Eldari, the Necrons said, "Fuck it, we're gonna go to sleep for millions of years, and when we wake up, the galaxy will be bright and ready for us to take over. This entropy will do its thing and fuck over both races," which it did. So they were right, but yeah, that's about it. That's so more or less. The orcs devolve. So the Quarks of the time devolve into orcs with the infighting once the Necrons go to sleep. So the Quarks devolve into orcs with the infighting and want to just keep on infighting for millions of years. And the Eldari take over the galaxy. And so the reason why they started murder fucking was that, I'll say, place them in your shoes. You are functionally immortal. You have all your food, your water, your comfort. Everything's beautiful. You have all your needs taken care of, so you can finally focus on the arts, what you like to do. So let's just say you've always had a passion for painting, so you start painting. You become over 100 years, you become a master painter. Paint anything from memory. You're the peak of the skill. Still alive. What's next? What do? You move on to another hobby, and then another. And once you exhaust all options, you're still alive. So what do? It's this idea that after being alive for so long and having all your needs taken care of, you start developing into hedonism. Just wanting to see, just trying to see how high can your emotions go, how low can you feel. Because another weird quirk of the Eldari is that they just. What's up? Always happy to answer.
Are the space wolves furries?
Yes, they are. In the technical sense, they are indeed furries. They ride wolves. They can become wolves after a while. They are indeed furries.
Alright, thank you.
So back to the story of the Eldari. So the Eldari decide to once they fall into hedonism, government wide. They start murder. They start people like sex toys, so no, not too much. There's like sex toys, but in any case, so they devolve into murder fucking orgies in the streets, hedonistic depraved shit. And thing is that because they experience emotion so much higher and lower than all of us, their presence in the warp coalesced. Millions of years of doing this, at the height of its crescendo, was then birthed Slanesh, the chaos god of excess. And she, in her first breath, killed 90% of the Eldar in one go. Whole planet systems, entire quadrants gone in an instant. Because she sucked out their souls. So, the Eldari basically split into 3 factions after that. Number 1, the Amish Eldari. Basically, they ride dinosaurs. It's like Ark. It's literally Ark. Second one, Craft World Eldar, most popular one. Still high and snooty because high opinion of themselves. The bonus, they have to keep a soul stone on them because if they do die, they have to store their soul before Slaanesh can devour it. It's like having a net just in case. And Drukhari, fuck the Drukhari. They basically said they discovered that if they cause pain on other creatures, it restored their youth and also loosens Slaanesh's grip on them. So, their tagline is, pray to whatever god you have that they do not take you alive. Because there's nothing but torture and pain in store for you for hundreds of years before you can come to the living sphere. You know what? I'll give you a minute.
But the sisters a battle. Make my pee-pee funny.
Hell yeah!
Serious question.
Here's the thing: the Imperial Sisters. If you're a regular human guy, they do not take a vow of celibacy. They can fuck you. They actually kind of prefer it because so the thing is that they hate Space Marines because they see them as mutants. But if you're a guard being courageous in battle and praising the Emperor's name, you absolutely have a chance with them.
So can I not have sex with them?
They will be a power top and you will be pegged at least once.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much the creation story for most of the Chaos Gods and everything.
All right.
Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
I might have a few later. It happens off random, Yeah, how it be though?
John Master, do you have any questions?
No.
How do you know so much and describe it so vividly?
I'm autistic.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay, it's like I have a tad of autism. It nicked me, but I'll say that literally kind of while I work, what I listen to is like Warhammer 40k lore podcast. And that's just how I learn all this.
Well,
Don't be pointing at me, okay? It's weird. So I learned that from my mom.
Wizard, you got any questions?
Nah.
I'm sorry,
I'll
but
tell
I
you.
must leave. Thank you for the lore. It's very
That's
interesting.
wonderful. You have a
this
wonderful
was
night.
awesome.
Thank you.
You too.
The store's
See you
awesome.
later.
Later.
That was very nice.